Hello. A while ago I uploaded this Iceberg list you see here to the King Crimson subreddit. People in the comments were wondering about further information for the songs and where they could find each of them. So I replied, but only about the first two tiers. Sorry about that. So, I am here today to not only tell you where you can find each song, but I'm also going to give a little explanation of each song to give you an idea of what they are about. So, let's get started on tier number 1. The Law of Maximum Distress. The Law of Maximum Distress was an improv from the Zurich November 15th, 1973 concert. The song was originally released on the 1992 Great Deceiver box set, but was released in two parts. There is very clearly a significant section cut out in between the two parts. The explanation the band gave was that the tape ran out that night, hence the name given to the track, which means anything that can go wrong will go wrong. Now, if you fast forward a few years to the same concert's King Crimson's Collectors Club release, the band wanted to make the Law of Maximum Distress complete by putting in the missing section. To do this, the band was going to insert a section from an audience bootleg recording. However, when the band was reviewing the footage, they realized the missing part was in fact the mincer from the band's album Starless and Bible Black. So, what the band had to do was go into the archives, take off the studio edits and the vocals of the multi-tracks for the mincer. However, they couldn't do that because the multi-tracks for the mincer are some of the only lost audio archives of the band. So, when it was time to re-release the Zurich concert on the Starless box set, the band went with a brand new edit which added the Starless and Bible Black version of the mincer into the song. Other than the aforementioned releases of the song, this song is available on streaming either as a bonus track in the Starless and Bible Black album or as the King Crimson 50th Anniversary series. Mantra. Mantra was a live-only song that was played throughout 1969. This song would start off a string of songs I usually refer to as the Travel-Weary Capricorn Suite. Mantra would start off slow, usually with percussion from Michael Giles, until the other band members slowly decided to join in. The band members would improv upon a similar sound each time they played the song, from what little 1969 concerts that currently exist. Another thing to note, Mantra would later become the instrumental introduction for Exiles, which can more clearly be heard on the Exiles foldback mix released to DGM Live and YouTube. After the band was finished doing what they wanted to do with Mantra, they would transition into Travel-Weary Capricorn. Travel-Weary Capricorn. The indication that Travel-Weary Capricorn was now starting were very specific notes played by Ian MacDonald on flute. Once the band fully transitioned into Travel-Weary Capricorn, the band played at a little faster pace than Mantra, which would then transition into an improv. Then it would transition into Mars, which was a cover of the song of the same name by Gustav Holst from the Planet Suite. An interesting thing to note is that the lead vocalist, Greg Lake, did not sing on the song. It was actually sung by the drummer Michael Giles. I feel the vocals really fit well with the aesthetic the band was going for. What I mean by this is, Mantra and Travel-Weary Capricorn have a sort of enchanting vibe to them where they pull you in and get you in a sort of trance. Cat Food, Top of the Pops. In 1970, King Crimson played the song Cat Food at the Top of the Pops TV show. Due to the nature of the show, the band had to mime playing their instruments to the single version of Cat Food. However, for the longest time, this show was said to have been erased by the BBC. That is until later a German dub broadcast of the segment surfaced, which is why we don't have the original English version of the show. Cat Food Live 1973. 1 month after coming back from a 3-month-long break from touring, the band debuted the song Cat Food for the first time ever as per suggestion by John Wetton. The song would eventually be preceded by Piece of Theme after just a couple performances, just as it appeared on the In the Wake of Poseidon album. Cat Food Live 2019. In 2019, King Crimson brought back the song Cat Food for their world tour. This version finally included Mel Collins because even though he did appear on the In the Wake of Poseidon album, he did not play on Cat Food. So he finally added his saxophone to it. The song would eventually be released on the 2019 Cat Food EP. Groon Live. Groon was originally released as the B-side of the Cat Food single. Despite being on the A-side, Cat Food would not see any playtime by the time the band started playing live again in 1971. They instead decided to play the B-side Groon. Not just that, the band would play an improvisational jam after they finished playing the song, which would last about 5 to 10 minutes, which would usually end with another 5 to 10 minute long drum solo by Ian Wallace. Peoria. Peoria was released on King Crimson's first live album in 1972, titled Earthbound. It was originally taken from the improv jam section of Groon and featured scat vocals from bassist Boz Burrell. Earthbound. Earthbound was the title track and the other instrumental improvisation featured on the Earthbound album. It was a straight-up improv which transitioned into the song Cadence and Cascade. I find the whole improv being transitioned into a composed song as an interesting concept for this era, as it would later become really commonplace in the Wettin era of the band. Cadence and Cascade, Greg Lake, guide vocal. Even though Greg Lake sung every other song on the In the Wake of Poseidon album, it was Gordon Haskell who sang Cadence and Cascade. Because of this, it was believed Greg Lake never sung Cadence and Cascade. However, the band soon uncovered Greg Lake singing the song, which they figured was only meant to be a guide vocal. Dr. Diamond. Dr. Diamond debuted right after Jamie Mirror left the band. This song was meant to give the violin a more prominent sound in the band's music, which would later be dropped. Dr. Diamond would be played throughout early 1973 until the band took a break from touring at the end of June 1973. When the band came back from touring in September to 1973, they could not agree on a composition of the song, so they did not play it. Keep in mind, the album Starless and Bible Black was recorded during this time in late 1973, which is why the song Dr. Diamond infamously never got a deserving studio recording. So when the band decided to bring the song back in early 1974 with a different composition, the band had moved on from the era of the sound and would start driving the road to Red. Voyage to the Center of the Cosmos. Speaking of the road to Red, Voyage to the Center of the Cosmos was an improv that was played on the second to last Wettin era show in Providence. The song definitely shows what the band had in store for the next album, Red, with its much faster paced, more hard-hitting sounding instrumentals. Cage. Cage was originally released on the Vroom EP and consisted of a super fast-paced song like Neurotica, but somehow even faster and even more chaotic. When the band decided to play the song live in 2000, they played it at a fairly normal pace for a song. Requiem, full version. The song Requiem was originally released on the 1982 album Beat. To make room on the album, they cut the opening of the song. The song would later be released in full on the King Crimson 50th Anniversary series. A Man, a City. To close off Tier 1 of the Iceberg, we have one of many 1969 exclusive songs. The song was originally a part of the song Trees, which we will get to later in the tier list. The song is obviously an early version of Pictures of a City. However, despite the obvious similarities, King Crimson considers both songs to be separate songs, as their compositions are different enough to warrant them being two separate songs. Alright, this is all I'm gonna make for now. I will make the other tiers soon. I just want to see the public reaction for this video to see if it is worth it to make more of this type of video. So, please let me know if you found any of this interesting, as I will gladly make more. So, see you next time.